I played Black Friday and Bad Sneakers, and I played Pretzel Logic, and then I think I did most of the stuff on the Asia album.
Like Black Friday and Bad Sneakers, kind of those two-string bends there, very memorable.
Yeah, two-string bends.
Let me see here. The albums, actually, it kind of surprises a lot of fans when we think back, because there are only 7 of them. And
I know. What the hell happened? Gee, it took so long to do them, too.
And I guess it must have been a benefit in terms of putting together a box set, because you just sort of stick everything into one box and you're done.
Well, and what's more, there wasn't really much else left over that we wanted to put out there, you know.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. I mean, you guys weren't exactly that prolific, so there isn't mysterious stuff still sitting around in the can, is there?
Well, not that's really worth presenting to anybody.
Why would it not be worth presenting? It's just demo.
Because we never finished it. You know, all the things we finished are there.
So you just have rough demos in the can?
Yeah, you know, or unfinished tracks or various things like that.
I noticed that the demo of Everyone's Gone to the Movies is supposed to be on the box set. Why that particular one?
Well, it wasn't a demo. It was actually done for release, and that was one of the few things that were finished that still seemed kind of interesting.
That's the only unreleased track on the collection? Or what's this, Here at the Western World? I've never heard of that one.
Here at the Western World was not on any of the albums, but it was on a previous best of album.
Oh, I see.
There was a track left over from Asia.
And then there's the live version of Bodhisattva.
Right, which was also on a previous collection.
Right. But those 3 tracks are basically the only non-regular album cuts, right?
That's right.
Now, nothing has been remixed or anything? What exactly is the deal?
No, nothing's been remixed. All of the stuff was remastered about 2 years ago to get it sounding as good as we could, and that's it.
But those remastered tracks have not been... Those aren't the CD versions that are out now?
Yes, they are, I believe.
Oh, really? Well, it seems like a lot of us already own those, so why would we go and want to get a box set then?
Exactly.
This must be for maybe the newer fan, or perhaps the guy who's been putting off buying the CDs.
Well, just between you and me, Steve, you know, our record company, MCA Records, we discovered had the right to do a box set whether we wanted them to or not.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So
and they decided they were going to do it, and we were able to stall them off as long as we possibly could. And so, you know, our argument being roughly the same. Actually, a couple years ago, we wanted to do it, but they didn't want to do it. And then later, we thought about it some more and decided we didn't want to do it either. When we actually looked for other new stuff to put in there, we couldn't come up with anything, much of anything, right? And so we figured, well, what's the point, right? But they subsequently decided they wanted to do it anyway. So we, you know, wrote some little program notes and stuff, and did our best to spruce it up.
I see. Is there a lot of these sort of trivia in your notes here, like, you know, who did what and how it was and how you came about to work with them and stuff like that?
No.
Okay. Yeah, well, that's what I'm trying to get from you, to sort of perk up the interest of the Steely Dan freaks out there, of which there are... Well,
there's some old pictures. There's, you know, there's some program notes. And there's a swell little opening piece that Donald and I wrote.
Wayne Shorter and Steve Gadd. I guess Asia was the first Steely Dan album they worked on, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And that was, I guess I was right after Jeff Porcaro had left. I think he played on Royal Scam, and then he left, right?
Well, he was never really in the band. We didn't have a band at that point. And Jeff continued to play on later things, too.
But the match with Gadd, though, was a real magical one.
Yeah, it was for those particular ones that that we were able to get. Yeah.
How did that come about? Why did you sign up Steve Gadd?
Oh well, Steve Gadd was on all these other records, and every time you ask somebody in New York who was good at this or good at that, the answer was always Steve Gadd. He can do everything.
Right. And when he actually sat down and played with you guys, how did it feel?
Incredible.
Yeah.
He was a great drummer. He is a great drummer.
What distinguishes him from other drummers, though? What is it about Gadd that's so magical?
Well, he had incredible technical ability, of course. Great sound. Great reader. He would just read the chart, and play the chart like he'd been playing it for years.
Mm-hmm.
Asia was like a second take or a third take or something, and it was a huge 7-page chart,
Mm-hmm.
And he listened to other players,
Mm-hmm.
Steve Gadd had pretty much everything that you'd want a drummer to have.
How about Wayne Shorter? People would sort of raise their eyebrows and think, "Ooh, difficult, serious jazz dude." Was he that way at all?
No, he was delightful. He was very easy to work with, very thoughtful and earnest, and did a great job in a very short period of time.
I read in the musician interview that he wrote out the scales there to aid his performance on the song Asia.
Yeah, I guess he did.
Is that rather unusual for a player of his caliber?
Well, I remember talking to him about it at the time, and he was trying to approach it in a different way than a bebop player would typically approach something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that was a useful way to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
He realized immediately that what the piece of music was, and so he didn't want to do he didn't want to do something inappropriate.
Mm-hmm. Jay Graydon on Peg, another memorable solo. How did the involvement with Jay come about?
Well, we had already tried every other guitar player we knew to play that solo, and then we heard about Jay.
Uh-huh. Who else had played it?
Oh, I played it several times.
Mm-hmm.
Elliot played it. Rick Zaringer played it. Robin Ford took a whack at it. Some guy whose name I can't remember now that was a friend of Victor Feldman's.
Uh-huh.
And I don't think Larry or Dean ever did, but
Larry Carlson and Parks. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I don't think they did, but 7 or 8 guys, came in and tried to play that, and for some reason we never got anything that we thought was really great.
How did his name come up, though, Jay Graydon? He was not really that well known at the time.
He was known in town.
I see. Uh-huh. It's interesting because he's built a very dedicated following here in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Not on the basis of that solo alone, of course, but his production work, his guitar playing with other people as well.
Right. Oh, he's a great musician.
Yeah, yeah. Now Larry Carlton has played quite a bit with you guys and with Donald solo.
Uh-huh.
When did you first hook up with him?
I think for around the time of the Royal Scam album.
Mm-hmm.
He, is another one of those guys that everybody raved about all the time in town. We finally sat down and did some stuff with him, and it came out great.
Mm-hmm. What kind of a musician was he to work with? I mean, did he get stuff right the first time, or did he have to work on it, or?
Well, with guitar solos, you usually have to work a little harder, because the guitar players were coming from a slightly different, musical perspective. That it wasn't quite so obvious how to approach things and so on for them as it was for a sax player or something, And also because of their background, they're mostly studio guys. They're used to doing things over and over again. Or they understand the idea of perfecting something like that. And Larry was excellent, consummate musician.